18 months. That's how long Ukrainian military leadership requested ATACMS tactical ballistic missiles from the United States. The request was specific, not for strategic strikes into Russian territory, for precision engagement of high-value military targets in occupied Crimea. Ammunition depots, command centers, air defense nodes, helicopter bases, targets beyond the range of existing Ukrainian systems, targets defended by what Russia promoted as the most advanced air defense network in the world. Multiple overlapping S-400 batteries, engagement ranges up to 250 kilometers, Panzer point defense systems, electronic warfare assets, early warning radars. On paper, this network could intercept anything Ukraine could launch. The United States declined the request, repeatedly. Official reasoning centered on escalation concerns. ATACMS has a range of 165 to 300 kilometers, depending on variant. Washington assessed that providing such capability might provoke Russian retaliation or be perceived as enabling strikes into Russian territory. Unofficial assessments questioned whether ATACMS could even penetrate Crimean air defenses. S-400 had never been operationally tested against a modern ballistic missile threat. Russian marketing claimed the system could engage targets traveling at Mach 7. ATACMS flies at Mach 3 during its terminal phase. The math suggested the S-400 should be able to intercept. In October 2023, policy changed. The United States confirmed delivery of ATACMS M39A1 missiles to Ukraine. Initial batch size was not disclosed, but it was assessed at approximately 30 missiles based on subsequent employment patterns. The M39A1 variant carries a submunition warhead with 300 M74 bomblets. Maximum range is 165 kilometers. Its flight profile is ballistic, with a depressed trajectory to reduce time above the radar horizon. Terminal velocity exceeds Mach 3. Guidance is global positioning system with inertial navigation system backup. There is no radar seeker, and the missile does not emit signals. It flies a pre-programmed trajectory to global positioning system coordinates. This makes it resistant to conventional jamming. The first confirmed ATACMS strike occurred on October 17, 2023. The target was a Russian helicopter base near Berdyansk, 110 kilometers behind the front lines. 90 seconds after launch, submunitions impacted across the airfield. Satellite imagery confirmed destruction of 9 helicopters on the ground. 2 Mi-8 transport helicopters, 3 attack helicopters assessed as Ka-52 variants. Russian air defense did not engage the incoming missile. No intercept attempts were detected by Ukrainian forces monitoring the area. The attack occurred at night. Weather was clear. S-400 batteries were positioned within engagement range of the flight path. They did not fire. The second strike occurred 3 days later. The target was an S-400 battery itself, positioned near Olenivka in occupied Donetsk region. Range from the Ukrainian launch point was estimated at 120 kilometers. ATACMS impacted the battery's command post and 1 transporter erector launcher. The S-400 system did not intercept the missile that destroyed it. Post-strike analysis by open-source intelligence confirmed the battery had been operational prior to the strike. Its 91N6E acquisition radar had been active. The system was not in maintenance or transit status. It was deployed, operational, and it failed to engage a ballistic missile flying directly toward its position. Here is the technical problem. The S-400 is optimized for high-altitude threats, like aircraft flying at 10,000 meters, cruise missiles at subsonic speed, and ballistic missiles during the mid-course phase when they are high and relatively slow. ATACMS does not fit this profile. It launches and climbs to 50 to 70 kilometers altitude during its boost phase, then descends in a steep ballistic arc. The terminal phase is the problem. ATACMS comes down at 60 to 80 degrees descent angle at Mach 3+. The S-400's 48N6E interceptor missile has a maximum speed of Mach 6 and a kinematic range of 250 kilometers against conventional aircraft profiles. But intercept geometry matters more than raw speed or range. To intercept a target diving at 70 degrees and Mach 3, the interceptor must execute a nearly vertical climb and match the closure rate at the intercept point. This is kinematically difficult. The interceptor burns fuel while climbing. It has limited energy remaining for terminal maneuvering. If the intercept geometry is not optimal, and if the target is detected late due to a low radar horizon during the approach phase, the intercept becomes geometrically impossible even if the missile has sufficient speed and range on paper. The S-400 radar horizon against a low-flying threat is constrained by Earth curvature. A radar positioned at 10 meters elevation can detect a target flying at 50 meters altitude at approximately 30 kilometers range. ATACMS spends most of its flight above 50 kilometers altitude, well within radar detection range. But during the final 30 seconds of flight, it descends below 5,000 meters. At that point, the radar horizon shrinks. If an S-400 battery is positioned 20 kilometers from the impact point and ATACMS descends below radar horizon at 15 kilometers range, the battery has 15 seconds to detect, track, calculate an intercept solution, and launch. 15 seconds is insufficient. Additionally, ATACMS uses GPS guidance with inertial backup. It does not emit radar signals and it does not require terminal homing. Russian electronic warfare systems designed to jam radar seekers have no effect on a GPS-guided weapon. Russia operates multiple GPS jamming systems in Crimea and occupied territories. These systems create localized GPS denial bubbles, but ATACMS inertial navigation allows the missile to continue to target even if GPS is jammed during the terminal phase. Accuracy degrades, but the missile still impacts within the lethal radius of submunition dispersal. The third ATACMS strike targeted a Russian naval facility in occupied Crimea. Satellite imagery dated October 24th confirmed damage to port infrastructure and the destruction of at least one vessel assessed as a landing craft. The strike occurred in daylight. Multiple S-400 batteries were operational in Crimea at the time. None engaged. Russian Ministry of Defense issued a statement claiming all missiles were intercepted. Satellite imagery contradicted this claim. The facility showed impact craters and destroyed structures consistent with submunition warhead detonation. Between October 2023 and January 2024, open-source intelligence documented at least 12 separate ATACMS strikes on targets in Crimea and in the occupied Donetsk and Zaporizhzhia regions. Targets included ammunition storage sites, command posts, air defense systems, electronic warfare nodes, and logistics hubs. There were 0 confirmed instances in which S-400 successfully intercepted an ATACMS missile. Not once. Russian sources claimed interceptions but provided no evidence. Ukrainian sources documented successful strikes with before and after satellite imagery. The operational implications are significant. S-400 is Russia's most advanced air defense system. It has been exported to multiple countries based on claims of superiority against Western weapons. Turkey operates the S-400. China operates S-400 variants. India has purchased the system. The sales pitch emphasized capability against stealth aircraft, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles. ATACMS is a 30-year-old weapons system. It is not stealthy or hypersonic. It follows a predictable ballistic trajectory, and the S-400 cannot reliably intercept it. The failure is not lack of radar detection. Russian early warning radars detect ATACMS during launch and the boost phase. The failure stems from intercept geometry and the engagement timeline. By the time ATACMS enters the terminal phase, descending at high speed and a steep angle, S-400 interceptors cannot achieve a favorable geometry for engagement. The launch to intercept timeline is too compressed, the descent angle is too steep, and the closing velocity is too high. This creates a gap in Russian air defense that Ukraine has exploited systematically. High-value targets previously considered untouchable because of S-400 coverage are now vulnerable. Ammunition depots that supplied Russian artillery operations have been destroyed. Helicopter bases that supported frontline operations have been degraded. Command posts that coordinated regional operations have been struck. Each successful strike reduces Russian operational capability and demonstrates that S-400 coverage does not guarantee protection. Russia has attempted countermeasures. Relocating S-400 batteries to positions with a better radar horizon against low-altitude threats. Deploying additional Panzer systems for terminal phase defense. Increasing the density of air defense coverage around critical sites. None of these measures have prevented successful ATACMS strikes. The fundamental problem remains. The ATACMS terminal phase profile exploits the intercept geometry gap that the S-400 cannot effectively cover. There is also a cost exchange problem. Each ATACMS missile costs approximately $1.5 million. Each S-400 interceptor missile costs between $1 million and $4 million, depending on variant. For Russia to attempt an intercept, even if successful, they expend equivalent or greater cost in interceptors. Given the S-400 demonstrated inability to reliably intercept ATACMS, the cost exchange favors Ukraine. Ukraine expends one missile and achieves target destruction. Russia expends multiple interceptors and achieves no defensive effect. The strategic consequence is that Crimea, which Russia considered a secure rear area protected by layered air defenses, is now contested battle space. Ukrainian forces can strike targets 165 kilometers deep with precision. This forces Russia to relocate high-value assets farther from the front line, increasing logistics burden and reducing operational effectiveness. Ammunition must be stored farther from artillery positions. Command posts must operate from less favorable locations. Air assets must base farther from operational areas, reducing sortie rates and time on station. This is the operational reality that emerged between October 2023 and January 2024. Ukraine requested a weapon system. The United States delayed providing it based on concerns about escalation and doubts about effectiveness against Russian air defenses. When the system was finally delivered, it performed exactly as designed. The air defense system that was supposed to stop it failed in every documented engagement. There is no evidence of the S-400 successfully intercepting ATACMS in any engagement. There is substantial evidence of ATACMS successfully striking targets throughout occupied territories despite S-400 coverage. The gap between claimed capability and demonstrated performance is significant. Russia marketed the S-400 as a system capable of engaging ballistic missiles at extended range. Operational evidence shows it cannot effectively engage a depressed trajectory ballistic missile in the terminal phase. The implications extend beyond Ukraine. Any military that has purchased S-400 based on Russian performance claims now has operational data showing the system's limitations. Any military planning operations against S-400 equipped adversaries now knows the system has an exploitable gap against ballistic missiles with depressed trajectories and steep terminal dive angles. The weapon that was supposed to provide area denial has been operationally tested and found insufficient. Ukraine asked for ATACMS for 18 months. They were told it might escalate the conflict, and they were told it might not work against Russian air defenses. When they finally received it, they used it exactly as planned. Precision strikes hit high-value military targets in occupied territory, and Russia's most advanced air defense system, positioned specifically to prevent such strikes, failed to stop them. This is what happens when operational reality confronts marketing claims. S-400 works against certain threat profiles, high-altitude aircraft, subsonic cruise missiles, and mid-course ballistic missile intercepts. It does not work against steep diving, high-velocity, GPS-guided ballistic missiles in the terminal phase. That gap is now documented. That gap is now exploited. And that gap cannot be closed without fundamental changes to intercept geometry, sensor positioning, and engagement timelines that the current system cannot accommodate. Ukraine asked for the weapon. Russia claimed their defenses would stop it. Operational evidence shows who was correct.